Good evening and welcome to DarkHour Paranormal. I am your host, Michael Roser. Tonight, folks, I have someone with me you may know and love, and some of you are just tuning in to learn about this unique and expressive individual with years of experience behind him. Folks, I have the one and only Rich Giordano with us here in the studio tonight, and this is something I've been looking forward to for quite some time. And it just seems that the time is right now. And I'm more than happy to have him with me this evening. But before we get into that, again, I know that there are many of you out there who are very familiar with Rich and his show, GUFON. I still want to say radio stream, but it's GUFON. And yet there are still some of you out there who are not familiar with his work. And I'm going to read a little something to you very quickly. And I'm actually going to try on my new pair of glasses that I will be honest with you, I haven't gotten used to yet. But at any rate, Rich Giordano became a paranormal researcher in 2004 when a chance sighting of 3 objects moving around with seemingly intelligent control baffled Rich and his wife of the time. It happened again the following night, and the research was taken to another level. On December 12, 2004, Rich captured an amazing UFO fleet. Then in 2005, a mechanical-looking humanoid. Rich also witnessed 5 triangle formations consisting of 3 lights. In 2006, Rich created the AZ UFO show with the intention of discussing his evidence. After only a few weeks, the show embodied the attitude you hear on GUFON today. Observing how the main people in the field we looked up to only cared about money, views, and subscribers, Rich exposed the corrupt people and organizations whose only goal was to make a profit. There is more to the story, which has become a continual work in progress. From the AZ UFO show, to the Rich Giordano show, to the Paranormal Code, to GUFON radio stream, and finally, to GUFON. One thing has stayed consistent. Rich tells it like it is, regardless of whose feelings might be hurt. UFOlogy is bigger than us all. Rich has spent his life studying human interaction and studying criminal psychology. As a result of this, in addition to being raised by a cop, Rich can spot a liar with body language and voice inflection as easily as spotting bad evidence. Rich calls it boots on the ground training and an abundance of trial and error. Rich claims he's made all the same mistakes he sees today with UFO sightings and wants to impart what he's learned and teach others what to look for. Another facet Rich displays is the comedic side of the message he's sending us. The field is noticeably stuffy and paranoid, but with good reason. Ridicule and ostracization come with this career path. For all the paranormal things going on all over the world, how can one not laugh? Bigfoot, Mothman, Fresno walkers? Come on, man. It's comical like a comic book full of superheroes. Rich takes the serious side of the paranormal world and turns it into something we can identify with and find humor in. It's risky, but that's Rich Giordano. Taking risks, staying current, and presenting with integrity. There are not too many people with the experience, the training, and the ability to have an open mind while being cautious or skeptical, and yet still imbue each presentation with a balance of gravity and comedy. If you want to have fun learning about the paranormal, then GUFON is for you. This is definitely not your father's radio show. With 16 years in the field, having made all the mistakes and boasting several successes, Rich Giordano is a well-rounded, critical thinker who knows all sides of the field, inside and out. And with that being said, folks, I'd like to bring on my guest this evening. Folks, please welcome Rich Giordano. What's up, Rich? How are we doing tonight, man?
Hey, it's man. You know, it's all true. Everything you said, it's all true.
Well, thank you. I had some help writing it. That's all you, buddy. That was all you, buddy.
I mean, how much? I mean, I can only pump myself up so much, you know.
No, it was good, man.
Thank you for that, and thanks for having me on. I told you about this deja vu thing. Did I tell you about this deja vu thing that's been going on?
You talked a little bit about it, but please enlighten us. I know it's something consistent here.
No. No, I'm just kidding. It's weird, and I can't put my finger on it. And it started about a month ago.
Mhm.
And I don't know you know what deja vu is. It's like you're sitting there and you're watching somebody talk or watching a TV show, and you could almost finish the sentences. You go, oh, I've seen this before, I think. Oh, no, wait. How can I be? It's brand new. You know, deja vu is a trip. And usually it only lasts seconds. I've been having them last minutes.
Oh, man.
And it's bizarre. And it's happened when I've been on the phone with Third Phase of Moon. I've talked to them a lot in the last month or so. And I'll tell them during conversation, you're not going to believe this. And sometimes they'll say something and I'm like, I was just going to say that. I was actually forming the word and you said it. And Blake or Brent would be like, you know, I've never once said that phrase before. And,
Wow.
you know, and I'm like, I know this is what I've been going through. And it's been happening and happening on a regular basis. And it's bizarre. And I was watching this speech from the Republican convention. And this gentleman gets up there and he's starting to speak. And I'm like, oh, this must be from 2 nights ago or something, you know, when I watched it. And nope, I was looking at it live and I'm like, but why do I know what he's saying? Here we go again. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 times. This happened about 8 or 10 times over the past,
Jesus.
maybe more than that. Yeah, it's bizarre. Look, I don't think it's aliens or anything. I've been meditating a lot lately, which may be, wow, I wonder if CE5 works.
You know, there's got to be a compounding effect if you're continually meditating. Look at some of the Tibetan monks who do it, you know, a lot throughout the day and even into the evening. That is their life. I mean, there must be something to that. Now, that being said, there's a whole myriad of different explanations that people come up with for deja vu. But what you're experiencing specifically when you're talking to somebody and picking up maybe on the next thing they're saying, do you think in sort of a quantum sense, you might be connecting with them on some sort of telepathic level? I mean, it's just a thought.
You know, that is because I only think about it like in a matrix type of way, you know, like it must be we're existing on different planes or different realities or something like that.
Sure.
You know, maybe there's a connection there. It doesn't happen. Well, look, I didn't have a connection with the guy from the Republican convention or watching baseball and knowing there's going to be a pop out coming up soon. And it did. And I'm like, I know I saw this. The guy's going to he dropped the ball. I can't believe this. This is a repeat. You know, it makes you wonder, man. It makes you wonder what the hell's going on. You know, and I don't like it.
Well, it should be unsettling, I would imagine. You know,
it is. It really is. Okay, the once or twice, fine.
Right.
But now it's getting to the point where I'm actually thinking, maybe there's some paradigm shift that may be real that people have been talking about. You know, it's bizarre.
That's funny because as I was talking to you about this, I hadn't gotten a chance to express this. I remember when I was much younger, I'd say I was in my teens and I was absolutely working with, spirituality, meditation, energy, and so forth. I remember a time where I would sit down to watch a movie. And as soon as the movie began, I already knew everything that happened in the movie, and I've never seen the movie. And It wasn't one of those kind of things where it's a predictable movie. I would just instantly, I would see the whole plot, and then I would see the end. And after a few 4 times of going through that, I started saying, man, I'm not really enjoying movies anymore. So just for the hell of it, I said to myself, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to see what's in front of me in that way. And I'll be damned, very shortly after, I never experienced the same thing.
The thing with deja vu is, and that's an incredible experience, and that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a little bit longer, but it's happening in real time. You don't have time to alter it. You don't have time to say what they're going to say. You just know it's coming.
Yeah.
And you react as if you've already heard it. It's bizarre. So imagine somebody telling you a story twice. That's exactly what it's like being in the second story.
That's so weird.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, that's so weird, man.
I know. I love it and I hate it because, you don't want to know, maybe I started this. I just remembered something. I remember saying, and I don't think I said it on the show. Maybe I did. I said, I have not had deja vu in a long time. Well, I'm getting a good dose of it
Isn't that
just
funny?
bizarre. That is weird. But meditating, because I want to do this, and I don't think it'll happen this Sunday. So anybody listening who I've already contacted, I'm thinking about next Sunday, but maybe we should do it this Sunday. Well, get us all together and try to do some sort of meditating remote view type of psychic connection, all of us at once, like 9 of us, and see if then we write it all down, draw it on a piece of paper, see if any of us match. I bet half of us match.
I bet you're right, man. I think that's a fantastic idea. And just to let people know, this idea that I think Rich has come up with is sort of rooted in this book right here. Okay.
Hey, yeah.
C5 handbook. This is a very comprehensive in terms of how you can contact extraterrestrials, but it's through a very spiritualist minded sort of set. So, you're going to be in here doing meditation. You have to, be in balance with yourself. It's a lot on love. It's definitely a different approach to, a traditional idea of contacting extraterrestrials.
It's a almost like a cultist type of procedural, I don't know, way of doing things. It's really bizarre in a way. I get it. It's you got to get in tune. I guess Greer is saying, try to change your vibration and, everybody get on the same level. I don't know. How do you know what to, that's my point. I can only get so mellow before I fall asleep. So how deep am I going to get? You get to the point of where for me, I almost fall asleep and I daydream. And I did it on the show the other night when I was trying to, make believe I was, I really did try to contact something and had the visions of what appeared to be some sort of avatar looking beautiful woman, and a moving humanoid type of rockish being, kind of like a superhero. That's why I put superhero in there, because that's what it's like. These gods must be looked upon as superheroes with magical powers. I would, that's when you read all of the Greek mythological stuff and all the stuff they talk about, it's like they're gods. They got these massive weapons, Marvel comics. We see it all the time. DC, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Thor,
it makes sense.
Superman, Hulk, Rock Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't see why some of these characters wouldn't be based off of, some sort of past mythological being or god. Frapsap actually brought up Marduk as a great example, and he spread it all over the Ghostbusters, and even in the Flintstones there are references, Cheech and Chong, there are references to Marduk. These things I think are out there without people realizing where they actually originate from. But that being said, let's move forward a little bit here, because I want to get to you. I want to know a little bit more about Rich Giordano here.
Why?
Well, you have this fantastic radio stream called GUFON. And, I've frequented your show many, many times there most nights. And you always have something interesting to say, something interesting to share. And you do it in a very fluid way. Occasionally it's gentle. Occasionally it's aggressive, but it balances out really nice. And I think you have a great show. At what point in your video streaming career did you decide that you wanted to go full into this field and this way of presentation? Or was that the goal from the beginning when you started putting this together after you had your sightings?
Well, we're going back before YouTube. So YouTube was brand new in 2004, I believe, or around that time. So back then, it's different now. I've only been doing the video stream for not even 2 years, year and a half, or just around there. So for me, it started out with a 3-hour podcast that I put together and edited it with Jeff Willis, who's a local skywatcher here in Phoenix. He's a lifetime experiencer, has some incredible videos, and he kind of led me in the right direction on how to skywatch. Now, I didn't follow the same exact path because I believe what I'm doing is much better. But that's what happened. I started seeing stuff in the daytime. That's what started. Jeff told me, forget night. You're never going to know what it is. All you're going to get is cool colors and who knows what, right? So he goes, if you do it in the daytime, you might be able to get some detail. So I did. And Is that on your end?
Yeah, it's the train that goes by. Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I didn't know if it was something happening on the on here. That was
No, you're good, babe. You're good.
You know, it was cool. So yeah, so I started doing it in the daytime and seeing some cool things, but at night, the first thing I ever captured was one bright light, and then it could have been an iridium flare satellite at the time. I looked it up. It isn't. So I don't know what I got, because right after I saw the one orb, I saw 3 points of light forming a triangle that came from the south, headed north, turned and went east. So and then it parked itself over what's called the McDowell Mountains in Scottsdale, and then clouds came by and I couldn't see it. That was at 3 a.m. for about 5 minutes. And you feel really small. It's weird. I remember that day because that was the first time I ever caught something, and I've only been doing it a few months, that was more than one object. And they all turned in unison, but you were able to see stars in between. So for me, it was just 3 points of light. Actually, I only saw 2 of them. The third one, I didn't even know was behind following until I reviewed the video and noticed another one in the background. This is the weirdest. Oh, God. And I didn't realize it at the time. But it goes, I can jump into the December sighting right after I tell you this, because this was June 27th or 26th. I can't remember the exact day. And it was 2004. And I remember because I was recording stuff for a couple of months, and I told my wife, who kept me grounded, by the way, I would tell her, look, all I'm seeing is dots, white dots. I've saying it ever since. They're nothing. They're meaningless. Yeah, honey, I know, but people are really proud of what you're doing. I go, I know. I need to see more than one, though. I want to see something like they see in Mexico or Brazil. They get like what's called fleets, it's more than one. So that night I went out and I captured the triangle. Excuse me, COVID. Jump over to now, the strangest thing, from that June to December, I didn't catch anything. Okay. So I was I caught stuff, but it was probably just mundane objects, right? Nothing really to write home about. So from June to December, it was really I didn't have the radio show, haven't done it yet. Didn't even have a website. But December 12, 2004, December 11, 2004 was the day I quit ufology the first time. I told my wife, I go, it's done. I'm done. This is so dumb. All I'm seeing is nothing. I'm not getting anything. Planes, balloons. There were no drones back then, so I couldn't even say that. Flares. Honey, I'm meeting people. They're not seeing anything that I would consider a UFO. I'm not seeing anything. I'm done. If I don't see, why can't I see, a fleet? Because that's when the 2004 Mexico FLIR video came out, where they were flying their jets and turned on the cameras for the first time and saw these UFOs. It was pretty amazing at the time. They were counting them, uno, dos, tres, and it made the news and all over the world. So I go, I want to see that. Why can't I see that? It's not fair. Show me a constellation, maybe, can't they form something? I go, I need a sign or I'm done. So anyway, I go out the next morning, didn't take the camera with me, didn't look up. I walked my dog at the time and went back inside. And football was starting. So I was watching football. Halftime came. I go outside to water plants. And just by chance, I look up and I saw something flash. And I'm like, huh. And then I see another flash and I go, huh. So I go, I got to get my camera. So I got my camera and I look up and I see this one weird looking, and I have it on video, but it was a weird spinning object. And I think it might have been a balloon, but it was wobbly. It didn't have all the balloon characteristics that you would normally see, but it was still interesting. Well, thank God for that interesting object, because I just happened to be looking at the right place at the right time. And I saw, it looked like fireworks were like up in the sky, but there was no sound. So I zoom in on it and I see a cluster of like 3, and they weren't moving. They were static. So I ran, got the tripod, put it on the tripod. My wife's inside. I could hear her. What's going on? I'm like, oh, you won't believe this. I go, they're just appearing out of nowhere. She came over and looked at it. And the funniest thing, the reason I tell this story and why it's so important to me, because it's the only thing that kept me going, was that everything I said the night before appeared in the sky. A Big Dipper, Orion's Belt. Remember the night before I just said, why don't they show me a constellation? Why don't they show me more than one? They did. And at the end, there was a formation of 9 that formed a question mark. Like, who are you to question us? And it also formed a genie's lamp. And you could hear me say, it's a genie's lamp, because I made the wish.
Oh, wow, Rich.
So you tell me, what the F does that all mean when I accidentally look up in the sky on the day, 24 hours ago, I quit 12 hours ago. And I just happened to go outside and look up and see the very thing that I was questioning. That to me is a sign that there might be a connection between us and them. Our mind may be readable, or maybe they can read our thoughts or whatever. But whatever it was, I can't deny that. And not only that, 5 years later, when big screens came out and they were really clear, it was 2008. On the screen, I go, let's look at my fleet video. Like, oh yeah. And in the meantime, I've captured a couple of them since. I posted one from April 2006, which is unbelievable. But this one is very interesting because you see white dots forming the constellation and shapes and everything. But in the background, and I never noticed this before, you see dark orbs moving like this. They actually go beep, and then they go back like that. And they go here. I am trying to get this so I can make the world see it for the first time. Like, it's going to blow away everybody. This is unbelievable, intelligent, controlled craft up in the sky. And I never even saw it. You would think they were, what I once thought I saw were mirror images of the white dots, because in behind were black or darker, or what seemed like shadow objects, but they weren't everywhere a white dot was.
Okay, right.
So you would think if it was that, there would be a black dot with every white, but there wasn't. And then when my friends saw the black ones moving and the white ones didn't, it was on. And I've had so many people look at it and they, I don't know. That's all they say. You got something. So I can't wait.
So you haven't released this video yet?
No, I've released the video, but not. It's only 30-second clip. Well, matter of fact, yeah, you can go to GUFON and look it up. UFO Fleet 2012, I think. But the one I just posted was 2006, where, I saw the same thing. I saw sparks in the sky, which looked like who knows what, fireworks or something. But I was at the stoplight and caught the fleet, and I thought it might have been papers caught in an updraft. That's what I've been telling myself. But they hovered and they changed direction and even moved out of, the one was heading right for it, goes right around it. You can see it on the video.
That's crazy. I mean, you've had very specific confirmation there with the genie lamp, the question mark, the constellations. Your story here is fascinating as you're talking about at face value, but the idea that you were quitting ufology and said, that's it. If I don't see anything, I'm brushing my hands. We've seen this in other circumstances too, right? You say, oh, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do this one more time. And if it doesn't work, that's it. I'm done. And you end up doing it that last time. What do you think that abandonment is? Why do you think it works that way when we just stop focusing on the goal and just allow it to happen? What do you think about that?
Well, I played sports my whole life, pretty much up until just 10 years ago. But I liken it to sports where, you could be on a downward streak and not be able to do anything, make a free throw, score a goal, whatever. And out of nowhere, you start getting back on track. It could just be the odds were in my favor. I was going to see something because, you could say that. I mean, it was bound to happen. You were going to see something. But in this situation, when we're talking about aliens and we're talking about UFOs, and we hear a lot of people talk about being abducted, people have had contact with aliens, including our own government. Why would it be difficult to believe that it's possible they triggered it to see the passion in me, to see if I have what it takes, if I would go the extra mile, if they showed me something, how would I treat it? What would I do? Would I record it? Would I ignore it? So maybe it was a test of my will. And, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in this field. But I wanted to show the world and talk about the stuff that I've been doing and capturing. And, that's really when it all just started to roll. Right after that, I was hooked. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Were you in the service?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to double check on that. So let's see, I have so much to work with for you on this, but all right. That being said, I know that you have said yourself that CE5 is hard to follow, and by no means is this the only way to contact extraterrestrials. In fact, it's my opinion, as I'm sitting here listening to you, that there's a good chance that once you made that initial contact, they were always with you. And for an entertainment value, that might be chuckling when you're sitting there with CE5 knowing that you've already made the contact. But that being said,
Sure.
Do you think there's really still something worthwhile within the pages, the way that it's written in CE5? Because I know, again, it's difficult to understand for the common man. Raise your vibration, become one-minded consciousness, and so forth. Do you think there's really something in there, though, that people can use?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, I am a certain way already. I know I've gotten accustomed to doing meditation a certain way that works for me. So when I want to do something as it's expressed in a handbook, I want to do it exactly as it's presented to me. And that seems like, I don't have my book, but it seems like a lot of stuff for somebody with no experience in meditation or knowing how to lower your vibration or change it. It's not something I think the average person can just pick up and read and go, oh, okay, so I got to set up a bunch of stuff here. I got to lower my vibration, whatever that means, because they don't know. Nobody's ever told them. So it's good and it's bad. I wish there was a little more details, but there's too much, I think. Greer gives you a way to make yourself feel good even if you fail, because he says you're gonna fail. You might fail 5 or 6 times. And then I mentioned it on the show. Then on that 6th time, the aliens will see that you are ready to go. You are ready. You've been doing it 5 times. They saw the beacon, because that's what you make yourself become, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Like changing your vibration and becoming a beacon that the aliens can see? You're reading that book too. So do you get that from it?
I do, actually. And it's not just for the ETs, but once you open that doorway, I mean, pretty much anything on that realm or, in dimensional space can see you.
There's a lot of the spirituality stuff in there. And, it's trying just to get your mind in the right place. A lot of people, they don't know how. Maybe that's why he gives you, the pat on the back for at least trying several times before it actually happens. If this was real and people were making contact, I would think there would be some sort of, well, I don't know if Greer's got it somewhere, but real evidence. I just don't want a story. Do people, does their brain change? Does something happen to the brain when they're making contact? Yes. I mean, there's been studies done when people meditate that certain parts of the brain fire up. And I'm sure it's the same thing when you meditate to contact aliens. But does something else light up? I want to know. See, we need more specific stuff. Like I want Greer to put these things on everybody's head and do a test that way and see where their frequency goes to, if that's possible. Can you check somebody's frequency? Are you able to do that? I know you can check brain frequency, but what about the aura, the body, the essence? I don't think you can.
I don't think that's been measured, at least that I'm aware of. But I mean, that being said, along with, the brain, which seems to be more singular in how it works with waves and vibration, I think the human body would have a collection of vibrations and frequencies. But that's a good point. That's a really good question.
I would like to see the difference. Like when Greer talks to them, I want to see how he lights up. I want to see that. We need to see that, because it is evidence that something could be happening, but it could just be the normal evidence from somebody meditating and creating images in their mind just with their thought. I don't know. I'm looking for something that's abnormal, not the normal meditating, when you meditate, certain things in the brain light up. I want to see something different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I want to see that part of the brain that shouldn't light up.
Yeah, something
that to
else
me would be proof. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Man, that's a real interesting concept. Go ahead.
Or float, or do something. I mean, Greer's got to start floating now. That's what I want him to start floating.
Yeah, well, supposedly there are people who reach a high enough place in meditation that they're able to do that. And believe me, I was a magician for many years. I know all about Uri Geller and, these other guys that, propose that they're doing things in a spiritual manner. And I just don't believe that. But I do believe that it is possible through sound meditation to, go beyond something that we normally know. Nicole was asking, and I believe this is in regard to what you do as a whole here. Rich, does it feel like a calling for you? Or what you're supposed to be doing?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No. It doesn't. It doesn't. I always liked, since I've been 5 years old, I had a microphone in my hand. I've always liked talking. I've always liked expressing my thoughts, because I realized at a very young age that I am able to say what other people can't. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. There's people like it starts out with family when you're young, right? So you say something and your mother or father will go, "You can't say that to Aunt Josie, but she is fat." I know, but you can't say it. Well, all right, she's huge, So you find a way to change what you would call somebody. I guess that's where the comedy started. But yeah, ever since then, it's been easy to be that person. So I forgot your question. I was thinking of Aunt Josie.
You already answered it within the first few moments there, but that's okay. Great. Still good insight, into what you're saying there. Forgive me if this has been covered in the moment that we've been talking.
You asked if it was a calling, right?
Yes.
I do want to answer that. It never felt like a calling, ever. I just thought I was on a radio show called Jeff Rents, and we were supposed to have with somebody else. They never showed up, and we changed what we were going to talk about. And it was the worst interview I've ever heard or been a part of. And I said, I could do better than this guy. And he was the number one guy at the time on the internet. And that's what sparked me to begin. That was February 2005.
2005. Wow.
Yeah.
I was graduating college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was 36, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. We have a little bit of difference between us in age, but that's about
a little bit.
That's not too bad. Again, forgive me if this has been covered in the moment that we've been talking here, but would you tell us a little bit about the period in your life where you had the opportunity to look up at the skies for hours on end? Did you see anything that most people busy with their lives may have missed at all in that time period?
Well, I mean, just the things I captured on video. I mean,
so that was all encompassed in that time period, those sightings?
It was from 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But the first 4 years, I laid it all out because I had a job where I only had to work a couple hours a day, and my wife made great money. So I was able to do what I wanted. And that's another thing. I don't think it was a calling, but I couldn't have done that even a year before then. I wasn't
Mhm.
in the right state of mind. I was a different person. At the 36 when it started, that was the perfect time because I had gotten married, we had moved, everything was just perfect for me to have the time to dedicate to the field. There was no other way I could have done it unless that situation happened. And that's what I see. That's what I've seen. The second time I quit, same thing happened. So I saw something that inspired me to get back in, not quitting. Like I'll quit, but then like, all right, I'm done. This is the last show I'll ever do. It was nice knowing everybody next week. All right, I'm not quitting. And people started getting mad. They're like, what is he doing? That's how frustrating it is because, well, I got into the field and found out that not everybody's being honest that I thought were honest people.
Right. That's a
But
shocker.
anyway, yeah.
I mean, I understand that. Well, I'll leave that one for a little bit later. Actually, we'll come back to it. Now, I understand you have a real bent for UFOs and aliens, extraterrestrials, but there is a very spiritual side to you as well. We're just starting to see, I think that peppers out a little bit in your broadcasts and so forth, but how does that play into your UFO research and the show that you do? The whole spiritual aspect.
It's 5% of what I do. Yeah, I don't think I'm a spiritual person at all. I meditate, but I don't meditate to any one particular thing. I talk to the universe pretty much, It's like, I don't say, I go, all right, here's what I need, here's what I want. But spiritual stuff like ascension, that kind of stuff is what you're talking about. And meditating, CE5, all this.
Sacred geometry and so forth, yeah?
Yeah. I think I'm just now getting into it.
Okay.
But I started the show back then because I wanted to talk about my stuff. And then I wound up finding out everything was corrupt. And, but I never want to get away from that because that's always going to be a part of the paranormal field, not just UFOs. But spirituality, I see how it might be I don't know if it's important enough, but maybe there's something to it. I don't know. Grant Cameron, the reason I think of Grant over anybody else is because he was always nuts and bolts type of guy. And then I don't know the story or how it happened, but he definitely switched over and started diving into all this spirituality stuff. And I remember hearing Grant talk about it's in the music, something about music. And I'm like, I like music. Music is universal, I think, just like math. I would think math and music are universal because if you could hit something or you have a vocal cord, you can sing and create sounds.
Oh, yeah. No, there's I can't remember where it is, and I apologize for that, but there's a temple where they have these pillars constructed, and you can walk up, and if you strike the pillar, it will resonate. And the idea was that there were lots of people. Are you familiar with that? I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. What was the name of that? Do you know?
I think it's in Peru. I don't know. I really, somebody will probably know in the chat room. Wait, are you talking about where you like a chime type of thing, or these are long cylindrical tubes?
Yeah, they're long cylindrical tubes. They're made of some sort of stone composite, and this was sort of a byproduct that people discovered after the fact, although whoever built it knew that that's what they were doing. But I bring that up in relation to music being a universal thing, and I think that music is very intimately connected with our physical reality, our vibration. I mean, look what it does for us emotionally, and that's just what air moving. Organized air moving, really. So there's definitely something there, especially in the way of vibration. Yep, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but you have to be an emotional being too to understand what music feels like. What if you don't have emotions and you hear this tune? You wouldn't know if it's good or bad. No, so how could you make it better or change? But you could make music. It's weird. Music is interesting because I don't know. Maybe it could change and make somebody that isn't emotional into an emotional person. Who knows?
No, that's possible. That's possible, especially again through vibration and breaking certain barriers. Who knows? I mean, there are people out there who don't like music, and those people kind of strike me the same way that people that don't like water strike me in a sense. Because to me, music is water. But not for somebody else.
I hear you.
So you've done a little bit of ghost hunting and so forth, right? You've tried to contact the other side, and I do want to bring up your Ouija board and the story that goes behind that, because I know that you've expressed this on your show, but we do have some people who are in here that have not heard that. Would you mind talking about it? If you don't want to do it, that's fine. We can do something else.
See, I have a problem. I talk too much.
There's nothing wrong with being loquacious, man. Come on.
That is such a great word.
I love it too.
Yeah, it's a good looking word. The Ouija board. Well, I'll try to go quick on it. The only reason I don't like talking about it, because I'm talking about it and giving it attention, which I don't want to give it, but I'll tell the story. Yeah. I'll tell the story. It's no big deal. Okay. So a couple of years ago, I was thinking of, well, what can I do that's shocking? What can I do that would create a buzz in the community? What is it that nobody else is doing? Well, all right, maybe I'll try to contact the devil with the Ouija board. And well,
Jesus. No, that's it's a bold thing.
Is it? I mean, well, maybe it was, but so I did, just to cut to the chase pretty much. I set it up with cameras, couple of recorders, candles, the whole nine. Got out, not in the very beginning. The first couple I did, I will have to admit I was nervous, but setting it up and using the Ouija board and trying to make contact with the devil and cut a deal with it. This isn't just to make contact. I was going to sell my soul to the devil to become rich and famous. That's what I want. That's, just to see if it would work. I could give a crap, but I just wanted to see if it would happen. So nothing. I recorded nothing. And after a while, I started getting frustrated. And about number 22, 23, I started taunting and getting very boisterous and saying, you're a pussy, you're nothing, you're nobody. I knew it. I knew the devil was just as fake as God. Of course you can't make yourself known to me. Of course you can't cut a deal because you ain't real. Make this move. Show me a sign. I'll wait. I'm not going to say a word. And I'd sit there. And then nothing would happen for about 5 minutes. And I'd go, pussy. And that would be the end of that session. But I made a very crucial error all the way up through, 198. No, I didn't do 100. But it was like 120. I did 100. And then after a while, I didn't do any for a while. And then I decided I was going to do 20 more. And the one thing I didn't do was say goodbye and close the portal. Oh my God, it's over. Oh, he didn't close the portal. Oh, no wonder. Well, yeah, say what you want, but I did catch an EVP. You could hear what sounds like dishes rattling and a pig snort. You could actually hear, you can hear that. It's weird. Huh. And isn't that supposed to be like in rituals, pigs and the devil or something like that?
Yeah.
So, nothing happens, of course. And I talk about it. And a couple of months goes by, and I think I just found out I was diabetic. Thank you, devil. And I was going through some things because I had moved, and I found a cross with Jesus on it that my mother gave me for confirmation. So I haven't seen it since I was 13 years old. And here it is. And I think, okay, the devil didn't work. This has got to be a sign. So I put it around my neck, and it was shorter because I'm a lot bigger now. And it came, right here, pretty much. It was tight, but I just wore it for a little bit. And I said, this is all true. I'm not lying. I go, that's it. Devil, you had your chance. I am literally going to start reading the Bible a little, as much as I can, because I don't like, reading the Bible, but I'll read it just for the sake of, denouncing the devil. I denounce you, everything you've never given me. Here I am. No proof you exist. Well, I think God exists. So I tell you what, you're done. God's in. Well, that was a Monday, and Tuesday I went and had Taco Bell, and ate and started feeling a little weird. Nothing major, just thought it was diabetes acting up. Mm-hmm. And then Wednesday comes around, I'm not feeling that great, but my throat's a little scratchy and whatnot. Then Thursday comes, and I feel like I got a tickle in my throat, and when I was younger, I used to get strep throat, like a lot, and they were about to pull my tonsils out, but never did. So here I am, always in the back of my mind, oh no, it's strep throat maybe. Oh my God. I'm doing the show and I can feel it. It's not pleasant. But Thursday into Friday, I started not feeling good. Yes, I did read the Bible, and I was still, trying to maintain my edge over the devil with now God. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't feeling good, and I didn't eat much on Thursday, but Friday, I felt like I had to throw up. Like every time I took a breath, it felt like I was swallowing the breath, but I felt like the urge to throw up, like your gag reflex gets touched.
Yeah.
And when I drank water and swallowed it, I felt like I'm going to throw it up. And it would happen with just about every breath I took. And I'm like, man, I bet you I got cancer, got something in my throat. I know. And I'm looking in my throat with a flashlight, nothing in there. It looks fine. But I went to bed that night and woke up at midnight. I was sleeping for a couple hours, and I woke up and ran to the bathroom and started throwing up, and was on the floor all through the morning till 5 a.m., 6 a.m., got up, went back to bed, didn't eat. I had to walk the dog and all that stuff. So I was miserable, and I couldn't eat. And that's fine. There's some days where I won't eat anything, and then the next day I'll make up for it. Well, woke up again Saturday, and I was sick, and it was just, I was miserable and throwing up all day. Now I have nothing inside of me, and I'm feeling miserable. I'm on the floor. I won't even leave the bathroom floor. I'm done. My throat is killing me. And, I was having chest pains, and here I am thinking, like, maybe I'm having a heart attack. Maybe these are the beginning signs of a heart attack. So Sunday morning came, and I took myself to the emergency. I'm just skipping over the other stuff, but, and I told her what's going on, and they put the EKG thing on me, tested me. My blood pressure was a little high, but that might've been normal. And she says, it sounds like you might be having a heart attack. I go, look, Tuesday I had Taco Bell. I can feel it. I think that the taco got stuck in my throat and ripped my throat up. She goes, maybe. I don't think that could happen, but, and I go, I don't know, man. Something may have punctured it. I go, I'm telling you. She goes, I really don't see anything. And she goes, all the tests are coming back, but you could be in between. Maybe you're on the cusp of having a heart attack. She goes, I want to call you an ambulance, send you to the hospital. I said, no, I don't have insurance. That's going to be $1,200 just to get me there. I go, here's what I'm going to do. She gave me some stuff to calm down my stomach because I kept feeling like I still had to throw up. It worked a little bit, but not much. And I went home, and I started having pains in my chest, and I decided to go to the hospital. So I drove myself, and it was Father's Day. So I drove myself to the hospital. I called my parents. We had celebrated on Thursday, Father's Day. So they wanted to go to the casino. They were at the casino. Anyway, they came to the hospital, sat with me. They took x-rays of my, whole upper body, and the doctor sits us down after like 3 hours. And he's like, do you do magic or anything like that? And I'm like, I look at my parent, I go, why? Any sword swallowing or anything? Like, sword swallowing? I look at my father, and he goes, don't say it. And I go, My mother's like, what is he talking about? What? Sword swallowing? And I go, no, why? And he goes, because if you look at this, and he puts up the x-ray, he goes, if this was in color, you would show bruising in your whole esophagus from top to bottom. He goes, I've never seen anything like it. That's why I thought maybe you were a magician and was, putting stuff down your throat or, like a sword or something. And I said, no. And he goes, it's okay. Nobody's going to, shame you for, trying to be a magician or something. I'm like, no. I go, my mother goes, he thinks it might have been that taco. It's probably the taco.
Yeah.
And the doctor goes, that just won't happen, ma'am. If the taco would have done anything, it would have done it just at the top, and it would have gotten very soft on the way down. Mm-hmm. He says, no, what's happened to you looks like there was something continuously put down your throat. He said continuously because the bruising was so bad that it showed up on the thing dark. And he says, if this was color, it would be dark purple, and that's bad bruising. You have your whole esophagus is spasming. That's why you feel like you have to throw up, and it's enlarged. And all you can do is just wait, and it'll go down. You'll get better over time. He goes, the only thing I can do is just give you some Imodium or whatever, mm-hmm. and something to drink, and that's that. And I wound up practically losing my voice. I did my show, I think, Monday. I can't remember if I did the next day, but it was awful. So one of the other doctors said, it looks like I've seen this with strangulation. People who get strangled, but not the entire. I mean, it goes all the way down, your bruising. That's what's so weird. So when I told the story, I went on another show, mm-hmm. and I told the story, and the guy goes, you had a spiritual attack. I said, why? He goes, because you denounced the devil. You put Jesus right on your throat, and they punished you for what you do for a living and your show, because everything I do goes to my voice.
Now, let me ask you,
my voice.
Let me ask you real quick. Was this the first time you actually considered that it might be something spiritual rather than a physical?
That was the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, please go on. Sorry.
It wasn't me. Yeah, it wasn't me. It was somebody else who said it. I didn't think it was spiritual or anything. I thought it was, I'm like, this doctor's an idiot. It has to be the taco. Kept thinking taco from Tuesday, bruised esophagus on Sunday. And I said, could it be from putting my fingers down my throat? Because I kept feeling like I had to throw up, and whatever was in there, I wanted it out. There was nothing left. Mm-hmm. I literally lost my gag reflex after like 2 days of trying to throw myself up. He says, no, you couldn't have done that damage deep down. He goes, there's just no way. It's weird. So maybe the devil got back at me. I did take the cross off, and I started getting better immediately. Now, There was a second part to the story, which happened earlier this year. And I was talking about the Ouija board. And, that's right. That's what it was. I closed all the doors on the Ouija board one night. I think mm-hmm. I did it this year. I can't remember. Believe me, these last 2 years have been just a memory, bad memory. Not a bad memory, just I don't remember. But I have deja vu. He could see the future, but he can't remember it. That's the best kind of guy, right? I'm just like everybody else. I don't know. I'm in the future. I don't have any evidence, but it happened. Well, the thing is, I tried this thing. I read on how to close all the books. I read it on how to close all the doors. And I read a couple of books. I found this passage you read, and I did it on the show. And then same thing, a couple of days later, I was getting sick. And I started feeling like I did when the spiritual attack happened. We'll just call it that. And I said, okay, here we go again. They're pissed at me for closing the doors. I can feel it. I know something's wrong. I know this feeling. So what I did, I was out of it. I was sick. I was in that same stage I was. So I got my energy. I got on my knees and I go, I promise I will never, ever talk bad about the Ouija board. I will never associate anything with it. I will not disrespect you ever again. You got my word. I can't be sick. Well, I know this sounds stupid as hell, but I was freezing. I had on 2 shirts and I had on a robe. Well, within 30 seconds, less than that, I felt the warmth of my body come back. And just within 30 seconds, I took the robe off, took the shirts off, put on a dry shirt because I was sweating. And I went and sat on the couch. And within 30 minutes, I was eating spaghetti.
Oh, wow.
And I was sick, like you wouldn't believe, for 2 days.
And
It's
just
bizarre.
like that.
Just like that. Now, that is the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me. Ever. I mean, because I felt it instantly. So you could say a couple of things, and this is what I would say if I was on the outside listening to me. Well, the power of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who cares? It worked. That's all I can say. When you're sick like that, you're desperate. You'll try anything. And I tell you, they must have known I meant it, because I that's why I didn't want to talk about the Ouija board, because I said I wouldn't. But I would hope it would understand that this is just for educational purposes. There's no copyright infringement.
Well, that's an incredible story. It reminds me of one of my encounters where it was the first time I had a negative attachment that was non-human and what you might call demonic. Follow me home. I went through that and so forth. It was both times. It was 2 times definitively it's happened that way. And both of them lasted for 3 months, as I mentioned when I came on your show. But the way I was able to free myself of that was to, again, just like you did, in a sense, face it, apologize for we're upsetting something. We're not following through with something on this. So when we call these to us, we better have a very specific thing that they're going to be doing. At least in my experience, that's what I understand. Now, of course, you contacting them saying you wanted to make a deal with the devil and, have some reaping off of that in terms of money and fame. It's a very, how do I put this? I'm not trying to be judgmental in any way, because I know that you were doing that for a judgment, for educational purpose, but it's a very superficial desire that's rooted in physicality. Somebody who means to do that, and again, I don't mean that you did, but somebody who has asked that question before and been serious about it, I find they get much more trouble and have a lot more difficulty coming out of it.
Yeah.
Once they realize they're in it.
I understand. No, and I was willing to take on those responsibilities and consequences.
And yet you'd never experienced them before, though. And I think that's what a lot of people get into. Myself as well. I went looking for the dark stuff. I wanted to feel that negative energy. I wanted to feel that heaviness so that I had something to compare the rest of my experiences to. And it was just in me. I was drawn to it. But yeah, that's really interesting. Now, with your Ouija board, you still have it, right?
Yep.
You still have it. I understand the sentimental value of it, keeping it in pristine condition since the 80s, but do you think there's another influence there why you're having difficulty letting it go? Possibly.
No, I just don't, because deep down, I really think there's a logical explanation to what happened to me. I don't think it has to do anything with demons or spirits or ghosts, because I still don't have the proof. Now, you can say whatever you want, not you, but people in general can say whatever they want. I didn't think spiritual attack. Somebody else did. And, you want to fill in the blanks? That could fill in the blanks with no proof. See, that's where I have a problem. I'm telling this story and I hate telling it, not because I don't want to. It's because I don't have anything to back it up other than the x-rays, which I could get. I mean, it's not that hard. It's mine, right? I mean, I could get a copy of it, I guess.
I would figure.
But nonetheless, that doesn't show anything. For all the doctor knows, I could have stuck something down my throat. For all you know, I could have. For all anybody knows, I could have. I didn't, but I still don't see how sticking something down your throat would bruise you like the way it was. But
Have you heard of anybody else in your research coming up with something like that? I mean, we've seen scratches on the exterior of a body. We've seen burn marks and stuff like that. But personally, I haven't seen much in the way of an internal injury, although I have read about them, usually with possession cases. How about yourself? Have you found anything else that's similar to what you went through?
There's COVID. There's a couple of shows that I've watched, like documentaries and just TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And people, they don't have evidence that they have bruising, but they talk about the same thing that the way they felt like they felt drained. They felt like they had to throw up. Yeah. I mean, I've heard people talk about feeling the way I felt, and I can relate to that. But what I don't understand is what happened this year when I asked, or I told it, or whatever, look, I promise I'll never talk, disrespectful again, and I get better. See, that bothers me, because that to me is mind over matter, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But why can't I do that all the time? So, and I've tried it. It doesn't work. When you're sick, you want to get better. You want to will yourself better. Look, I believe in mind over matter, but I don't know if that was a spiritual thing. I don't know. That's what bothers me.
In respect to mind over matter, because the mind is incredibly powerful, and it's been said many times over.
Yep. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
Time. Nope. Take your time. It's all right. We'll take a 2-second break there, guys. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Drone!
It's the drone. Yeah. I knew it, dude. I knew it. Oh, good. We'll talk about that in a little bit there.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's awesome. That's awesome. You got the drone, man.
It was $1,000 drone at the front door. It's supposed to go in my locker, you idiot. All right, thank you.
I'm glad to see it in your hands, man. I really am. I know how much
I had to get it. I can't leave that. Yeah, I can't leave it outside.
No.
Anyway.
So let's see. Okay, so in regards to mind over matter, it's been said many times that, we actually manifest our reality. And I believe that that's true on an individual level as well as a collective level. Now, here's something that I've never actually told anybody before, and it's something that perplexes me to no end. Okay, so when I was much younger, I had a firecracker go off in my left ear. It was one of those lady fingers, and it literally, I went deaf for about a month. Over time, oh man, my equilibrium was all messed up, and what have you. I couldn't sleep right. It was very, very unnerving. But over time, it came back, and I think it was about 10 years. It would come every once in a while and like put me out for a day. Everything would just go tinny, and I wouldn't. Again, the equilibrium thing would really mess me up. And of course, I couldn't be around loud music without specific kind of earplugs. Now, since then, let's say maybe 25, 26, I haven't had that day of ringing where it would just start and then would just stay this way for quite some time. Instead, once in a while, and now it happens with both ears, I'll get a very rising ring. And for some reason, and I cannot put my finger on this, Rich. I'll be honest with you, I cannot put my finger on it. I can think about the sound, and as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking about it diminishing. And as I'm thinking about diminishing, it starts to diminish. And if I keep thinking about it, it'll keep going until it actually goes away on command. Now, if I break my concentration during that moment where I'm trying to think it down, whoop, it'll come right back up.
Wow.
Like I was pushing a ball in the water, and then whoop, comes back up to the surface. It's so strange, man. But that to me, that can only be a mind over matter sort of thing. I just wish I could do it on a larger scale. You know what I mean?
Don't we all? So yeah, that's why. That's what I have a problem with. You think we'd be able to continually do that, but we can't.
Right. It's just, I mean, not necessarily that we can't, but it's not something that is easily achieved. Let's say.
Yeah.
Have you ever worn the cross since?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to take any chances.
Okay. All right.
Right back. Yeah. look, my health is up and down, being diabetic, and, I am treating it, but it's just very hard to get control of sometimes. I don't want to risk anything else.
I
So,
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
just
besides,
curious.
it doesn't fit anyway.
In terms of, now that we're on, it's the paranormal tip a little bit here. What are your thoughts on astral projection? Have you ever had an experience, and how important is meditation to the common man? Sorry, there's like 3 questions there for you.
Well, astral projection, can you explain to me? Because I may be a little confused. I think astral projection is where you put yourself in another environment. Is that what it is?
The way that you're describing it, I would say essentially. Well, go ahead.
Am I projecting the image that I want? I see. This is where I have a problem. I know it. Traveling, I know that one. I mean, that's obvious. You're going from A to B, but projection, what are you projecting? Am I projecting what I want to see, or am I projecting what's being shown?
Okay, so generally in meditation, this is something that occurs or is intentionally done. So the experience is this, and I can only share this with you because I've actually done it on purpose and not on purpose quite a few times. So in my experience, you'll be laying there in the meditative state, and there's that point where you get to that, I want to call it a plateau, where everything just sort of kind of opens up. It's still dark, but you can just have it feels like your awareness sort of opens up, and you're aware of a different space around you. It's very peaceful, and a lot of people will just kind of hang there, and that's where they heal, and they come back down the body and so forth and go on with their day. But if you're able to really relinquish the tactile sense of your body and just fall in rhythm with your breathing and let yourself go, what happens is you start getting this buzzing that rides up in your ears and becomes very loud. It's like a static buzz. And a lot of times I saw like this whiteness kind of wash over my vision with my eyes closed. And if you stick with that, it'll get to a point where it reaches a pinnacle, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And I look around, and I'm either looking down at myself or I'm above the house, and I'm noting the time of day it is. It's exactly the time of day. It's not nighttime as if you would have in a dream, you dream of the daytime and so forth. But from that point, the idea is that you're able to then project that essence or that, spirit that you have out into wherever you want. Now, personally, I get to the point where I look down, I realize I'm looking down, I'm like, oh shit. And then that's it. I'm right back into my body. But have you ever experienced anything like that? Because the other thing is sort of a remote viewing, I think, in a sense. And I don't think that's actually projecting the astral body.
Yeah. Well, unless I'm doing everything wrong, I accidentally found out how to meditate when I was, believe it or not, 6 years old. And I'll tell you why it makes sense.
Okay.
I wasn't purposely trying to meditate, but my parents didn't like it if we stayed up late and watched TV. So what I did, I made believe I was sleeping on the couch when they came in and cleaned up. And I remember and I told myself, don't move, keep your eyes closed. And as I laid there, I lost feeling of the couch. I remember that if you don't move, you don't feel the bed or whatever it is you're laying on. And I remember I used to do that all the time when I was younger. Then when I got older and I found out about meditating, which was about 18, 19 years old, because I dated some older woman who was into all that stuff. And
that's cool.
Huh?
That's cool.
Yeah. And she was like years ahead of her time. And we would meditate and do all this stuff. And I could never do that. Now, I know exactly what you're talking about, that buzzing noise, because I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Mine doesn't stop. It just lessens a little bit, but I always feel or hear it. But when I meditate, I don't move, because that's the way I've been doing it. I do deep breathing and all that, but after like 5 to 10 minutes, I don't move and I go back to what works for me. But I can't leave my body. I can imagine doing everything you just said, but it's my imagination. I don't look down and go, oh no, and I'm going to fall into my body. I don't get that way. And I never have, ever. Now, there's times where I'll be, in my mind meditating and doing things that, supposedly humans can't do. I take myself and do a lot of cool things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it's actually happening. I know what it is. It's just me in my imagination. And that's me in my mind the whole time. I just don't know what people are doing, that they can talk to beings or float or feel like they're going to fall. I never once ever got that way. Never. And I meditate, and I practice the law of attraction. I do believe in it. I do my own version. I can manifest you were talking about that a little bit ago. Like, thoughts can create things. They really can. Really, really, really can. It's amazing. I wanted my drone to be gone a week, and everybody's telling me, well, it might be a week. It'll probably take 2-3 with COVID. It's exactly a week, just like I hoped. Exactly like I envisioned it to be, because that's all I could handle is 1 week without the drone. But,
that's what I want to talk about in my next question, addressing the secret and the mind over matter sort of phenomenon. But just before I get to that, when you meditate, this might be a weird question. Do your eyes roll into the back of your head, or do you think they stay straight? Because, okay, that's interesting, because I've learned with at least astral projection, that was a big part of it for me. And actually, my mother had shared this with me many years ago. God, I think I was 12 years old, and she told me, and after she told me, she looked at me, she goes, I don't really know if I should have told you that. And of course I went back, and that's when I was trying it. I noticed a difference when I put my eyes in the back of my head while I'm meditating. Maybe give that a try sometime, see what happens.
I can't get my eyes to go back there. I don't even know. I could force it.
I mean, no. I mean, even if you're just looking up, I guess, let's say not roll your eyes back in your head, but looking up. As you're doing this, I don't know. You said you've tried that?
I've tried everything. I have. I mean, I literally have tried everything. I've never, I don't know if I've left my body, but it feels like the ground disappears from me. But anybody can do that. I could sit in this chair during the show and not feel the chair. Even though I feel the pressure, I won't feel it. That's just from not moving. But I don't know, man. I think I'm weird. Well, I can't leave this plane. I'm not allowed to.
Well, is imagination not the precursor to manifestation? If you were to continue to imagine, perhaps it might become real. Just saying. Maybe.
I lost you. You're cutting out.
You there?
We lost you.
Can't see me? I hear you, see you. Really?
You're gone. You were gone.
Am I there now? No? That's very weird. I am not on Wi-Fi. How about now? Can you hear me, see me? No, what the hell? Everything looks okay over here. Guys in the chat, can you still see or hear me on your end? Because
I hear music. I don't know. I don't hear you.
You hear music?
Something's happening, but I think my internet went out.
That's got to be it, dude, because I think I'm still rolling here.
I just saw something pop up on my screen that said something about the internet.
Okay. Uh-oh, there he goes. He'll be back in just a moment, folks. Man, this is fascinating so far. I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are too. I see you in the chat. Yeah, I got a handful of you guys in here tonight, man. This is cool. I'll just take a moment to shout some people out while we're waiting for Rich to come back on. Let's see who we've got here. Northern Lights, thanks for joining the show. Nicole, I really appreciated that question earlier. That was pretty cool. Very good one for Rich. Grimwitch, I know you took off, bud, but thank you for coming. Dave Vole, what's up, pal? Welcome to the show. I think this might be your first time here. I hope you're enjoying it as well. Big Cat, my man, my moderator. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming, as I know you would be here. Game Vet, what's going on, pal? Nice to see you. Tina, thanks for joining the show this evening. It's nice to see you again. What else have we got in here? Who else? Let me go up the chat a little bit here. Take a peek. Because I know I saw a bunch of people. Is that Lori? Lori Oliphant? Yep. What's going on, Lori Oliphant? Nice to see you. Okay, he's got a text from Rich. Give me one moment here. We're going to figure out what's going on. All right. He'll be right back on in just a moment, and we'll finish out the show, guys. Got another 15 minutes, so hang in there. Alien Girl, what's going on, love? Thank you for coming to the show tonight. Joe Monk, what's up, buddy? Frap Sap, good to see you. Long time no see, my friend. We had a great show last night with Frap Sap. I really enjoyed my time. Very thorough guy. Okay. Our man of the hour is back on. Hello again.
I'm using my phone because the internet's out.
I'm sorry, brother. That looks pretty nice, actually. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's the 5G crafted technology. I'm going to set this up so it looks like I'm streaming the show.
Yeah. Sure. I once did an interview with Dr. Drew Horace. Dr. Horace Drew before we did the first show on someone else's channel. Dr. Horace Drew had requested that we do a private show. He wanted to talk to us off record and make sure we weren't somebody that we weren't supposed to be. And I kid you not, the power went out about halfway through the day in my house. I'm like, oh no, what the hell am I going to do? So I sat in my car and let my phone charge and realized that this is what I was going to do. Now, this was 2-3 months ago, and my room was sweltering. It was so hot in this room, and I can't keep the windows open because I have traffic outside. If I'm doing a show, you hear it. And of course, no power. So, I had no fans. So I literally did the interview 2 hours, I think it was, by candlelight on my phone. Unreal, man. The show must go on, right, Rich? Show must go on.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry, where were we when we kind of dropped off there?
I don't even know who I am anymore.
That's okay. It makes two of us.
Does it? I don't remember, man, what we were talking about. I'll be honest.
I don't either. And that's okay. Because
that's okay.
I still have another question for. Oh, were we talking about The Secret?
Yeah, we were just getting to
it, right? Whatever. Anyway, all right. So why don't we go into that a little bit? The Secret itself. That book, the way that works. I'll be honest with you. The first day I read the book, I read it in one sitting. I'll be honest with you guys. I was looking for a bag of weed and I had no money. And I kid you not, I tried thinking about this and pulling in the technique of The Secret. And maybe 15-20 minutes afterwards, I was just leaving work and I received a call from somebody I hadn't talked to in a very long time. He said, "Hey, man, I just got a great bunch of weed. I need you to come over here, man. You got to get a bag of this stuff. It's great." I'm like, "Well, hey, what's up, man? I haven't talked to you in a long time." So I went over to his house and he gave me the bag of weed. And he said, "Here, you have a check that came in the mail." I used to live with this person. And he said, this came some time ago. I just haven't seen you, but here, I'll give it to you. And I looked down and I said, "Okay, cool." I opened up the thing and he was going to cuff me the bag of weed. So he was going to ask me for the money later, for those of you who don't know that vernacular. And I opened this envelope up and it was from my school loans. It was giving me $35 even back. And that's exactly how much the bag of weed cost. Now, the kicker is that check would have expired at 6:00 that day. I was there at 5:30. I had a half hour to get to the bank and cash it.
Come on, man.
They give you 180 days on those things. And this is all after The Secret, dude. So
that is The Secret in a nutshell. That's how it works.
It was strong. I mean, I thought maybe one thing you think about it manifest, but this was like boom, 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 or at least there was a progression that I was following, to the end. So that's my story.
That's a great one. They definitely teach you to start slow. Like instead of pulling up to the grocery store and bitching about not getting the front space, imagine pulling up and seeing the front space available. Before you get there, imagine making the turn into the driveway. You feel how it's uneven. You go over the rocks. You can feel the rocks. You hear the wind. The radio's on. The air is blowing. You feel the steering wheel. You're looking over there. There's an open space next to the handicap zone. Oh my God, it's my lucky day. You make the turn. You get in. Now you're pulling up and you make the turn and it happens.
It's true, though.
That's what they tell you to do. Try little things first.
Yeah,
Work your
man.
way up. But you have to, it's not, here's what I get a lot of people. Oh, you're doing that secret. Oh, think positive. That's new. It's not positive, you donut. It has nothing to do with that. It
Not at
has to
all.
do with everything else. It has to do with creating that illusion, that reality in your mind as if it already happened. So the universe can't tell the difference between thoughts and reality. Your brain fires the same thing no matter what. If you burn yourself on the stove, an hour later, you remember what it felt like burning yourself. Your brain will respond the same way it did as when you burned it. That's how you trick the universe into thinking the good shit happening. That's why last night on my show, and I forgot to talk about it, where I said, I think there's a way you can go into your past in your mind, correct all the wrongs you did to open up a better you in the future. Like when you wake up tomorrow, maybe because you corrected all those things, you'll all of a sudden now be this giving person that you never have been.
Yes.
It could work that way.
I agree 100%. And I have an experience when I was in high school that I used to do. So every night before I went to sleep, I would send energy to my next day. And it was the same thing as The Secret, except I didn't know what The Secret was. I don't even think it was, I don't know if it was published.
Well, we
yet.
had vision boards back then.
See, I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was very young, at that time, but I would send energy into my day. And, the next day I would wake up and I'd go through school and I would just feel amazing. I would feel different than if I didn't do that. Now I thought to myself, what if you could send energy to the past? If I can send it to the future, it makes sense that I should be able to send it to the past, right?
Right.
So I picked an event that occurred. It was, I don't have proof for this at all. But I picked an event that happened in my past, and it wasn't anything, with super amount of gravity or anything like that. It was just something small. And I started sending energy to it. And at the same time, I envisioned it going a different way. Okay. Now I did this and it almost felt like something realigned, and I have a different memory of what happened now. There's a faint recollection of what had happened, but what feels real that actually had happened in my memory, the way I remember it now, is how I envisioned it while I was doing that sort of meditation.
Wait, say it again. What? Yeah, I don't know if I caught what you said.
Sure. No, I'd be more than happy to. So again, I tried to influence an event that happened in my past by reimagining the way that it happened. Right. And in doing that and working with the energy, instead of remembering exactly the original way that it had happened, where it didn't turn out so good for me, my memory is now, when I think about it, I feel more at ease, and it feels like that's not exactly what had happened. So the events that I actually went through now somehow feel like they've changed in my memory. And again, I could never prove this because I can't physically go back to the past and re-experience it.
But that's it.
But that's it, right? Right?
That's exactly it. So let's say, okay, here's an extreme example. Let's say I had a dog or a cat, and I was mean to that dog or cat, and that dog or cat wound up, biting people or whatever. Now that dog dies. I'm an asshole with a bunch of guilt, and I feel horrible about the way I treated the dog. Something, people told me, the way you treated your dog was bad. You should never treat animals. You should never yell at your dog or spank your dog. I mean, what do you think it is? It's 10 pounds. So if you go back into your past, and let's say now I make believe that I just love the dog instead of yelling at the dog, you're telling me that it's possible that I may feel differently because I changed the way things happened in the past.
I'm saying that there's absolutely a possibility because that's what I experienced.
Because that's what I want to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Comment. Sorry.
No. You didn't know I was going to keep going. What I'm saying, that's exactly what you did, and that's exactly what I want to do, is go back to the past, change something that I had done wrong, and could have maybe, made things miserable for somebody for who knows.
Right.
It's hard to explain, but I think people get it.
if it's something innate that everybody can do, it's only a matter of time, I would imagine, that, you know, people start understanding this. But again, here you have an aspect of spirituality that's very powerful. We're saying that we can create our own reality right to the manifesting point. Okay. So whatever I want in life, I can essentially have it as long as I'm, you know, working in that capacity. If that falls into the wrong hands, okay, if the person that gets that information is able to execute it is too immature to have it, too irresponsible, I could see why some, you know, secret organizations such as the early Freemasons that coveted information like this and kept it away from the general public, because maybe at that time as a whole we weren't really ready. But the guys that, you know, kind of kept the information didn't do so well themselves. So I don't really know, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I guess it is. I hope it is. I hope there's a way we can do something like that. Go back and change the wrongs you've done. What if I go back in the past and change my career path and made myself a retired police officer? I mean, a pension isn't going to show up, you know, but who knows? Maybe I'll acquire some new knowledge of the law, or maybe get in a position someday where that being a cop in my past, I don't know what I'm trying to say, will help me in a situation where a bank is being robbed. I don't know. All I know is I want to go back in the past, see if I can change things, the bad things I've done, to see if it changes the way I am today. I think
Maybe,
it'd be a great, huh?
Yeah, I was just going to say what you were going to say. I think it would be a great thing to experiment with and see what happens. And in fact, I'll start trying to do some of those things just because in talking to you, it's now coming back to the surface. This is what I've done. Because, you know, it's easy to forget these things over time, you know?
Why can't it work? Seriously,
why can't it work?
Why can't it? Like when we're now talking, right? We're experiencing life in a certain way, and our brain is giving off certain things, you know, energy. And I don't see why we can't go back in the past, imagine something different happening, and seeing if it plays out the next day or something. I don't know how to explain it. Nobody's winning the lottery doing this, you know, but people are getting rich. And the thing is, what happens with The Secret is you've been a certain way your whole life. So for you to do The Secret and have it work, it's going to take a while. It could take a year, because you may have done some things that can open up those doors that the universe can open. The universe may have to find alternate routes to change that for you. And it may take longer because you were so difficult in this life. So, you know, like you burned so many bridges and so many relationships have gone by and so many things you've done wrong. The universe is going to take a long time trying to correct all that if you're imagining it, you know, doing the right thing. So if you keep imagining doing the right thing, it's going to take time for those doors to open. And what a lot of people do, they don't think The Secret is working. And just as the grass is starting to break through, they stop. And then the grass retracts and goes back down. They were so close if they just went a little bit longer. But nobody knows how long it's going to take.
I think it's individualized. The idea of just sticking with it, though, I think can yield results if you're just patient. But you really hit the nail on the head that, you know, people try this and say, oh, my God, this isn't working. This is taking too long. And they just give up. But, you know, right then and there could have been right on the cusp of success. You know,
and that's usually when people quit, because the universe is that it's hard to change. And it right up to the point where it's about to change, you got to pass one more test.
Yeah.
That's it. That's one
true.
thing. Yeah,
that's
I don't
so
know,
funny.
man. It's weird. Life is very difficult, but is it really easy if you just use the law of attraction to attract the things you want? Yeah, I think it works. And a lot of people do say, oh, it's positive thinking. No, in a way, I understand why they would say that, but it's not. You're creating a reality in your mind because the universe can't tell the difference between reality and your thoughts. So if you are doing something in your mind continuously every day the same way, the universe thinks, oh my God, that's happened that many times. I'm going to do this time, you know, and open up a new door for you. because you've proven that this is continuously happening. Rich people get richer, poor people get poorer, because the rich people say, how can I make more money? And the poor people say, I can't believe I'm still broke. It's never going to get better. I'm always in this cloud. I can never get away.
Yes, 100%. And
you're doing the secret when you're not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing it unconsciously. I mean, we're still manifesting everything in our lives. It's just whether we favor it or not. And then of course we feel like we're removed from that experience of creation. So we then point the fingers as to why we live in the world that we do, why the people who are surrounding us are the ones that are there, why the opportunities aren't coming out of the woodwork that we feel we deserve. So, I mean, it's amazing. We could talk about this for quite some time, but I'm actually going to wrap up now. Rich, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show. This has really been awesome and completed a small part of Dark Hour Paranormal. If you guys didn't know, the glasses are a direct nod to Richie from GUFON. Okay, that's why I started wearing them.
Really? I can't believe that.
Yes. Well, I really enjoy what you do, and I've always wanted to support you, and I wanted to bring a little bit of that energy into my show. And I'm not wearing them for other interviews these days because professional reasons, but I had a great time with you tonight, Rich, and I hope you had a good time too, brother.
I always have a great time talking about me. You kidding? No, it was. No, thank you. I really was looking forward to tonight, and you even gave me an option to change the day, and I said, "No, wait, man, I want to come on." So that's good, and I like what you do. I like your show. I like your style, and yeah, a lot of good things are happening real quick for you, and everybody's noticing. So good job on that. By the way, we're on tomorrow, you and I.
Yes.
On GUFON.
Yes, we're
are going to do the catfish, whatever. I can't think. We're going to do the evidence from catfish. Mr. Catfish.
Mr. Catfish.
Yeah.
Even if he's not joining us, we're going to look over what he sent over, and we're going to have some discussion about that. We're
going to give an honest review. So
yes.
Tune in tomorrow. I have Bigfoot and other stuff coming up here in about 25 minutes. So I want to thank you.
Good, man. You're beating me to the punch.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, everybody. Tina, Big Cat, Northern Lights. I'll see you in a few, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And Quincy, thank you so much, man. What do you got coming up? Anything this weekend other than my show?
So I have, it's always so, what's the word? Tentative? I think over in my corner when it comes to guests. I think I'm really shooting for, between Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays to be the consistent time that I'm working with. Again, it goes on whether the guest can come on at that time or they pick a different time. I do have Wreaking Havoc coming on the show, a little bit later, in the early September here. We're going to get into that. So that'll be interesting. He's been keeping in touch with me and filling me in on his daily occurrences and his happenings. And that's been very interesting. So we're going to get into that. And later on in the month, I have Elisa Medhus back again. We did an interview that was a wonderful interview, but we're actually going to be channeling Eric on the show. So we're actually going to pick a medium, and he's going to come in, and we're going to do a full session with channeling Eric. Wow. I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm really looking forward to that.
I love it.
So, that would be cool.
And later tonight, after my show, I'm going on Spaced Out Radio for 3 hours. The Roundtable Show.
Yes. Nice.
It's only 7 hours. It's only 8
full
hours.
Night. Yeah, just a full day's of work,
Once a month, I do this 7-hour night, so it'll be fun.
Well, that being said, guys, be sure to check out the link in the description. I'm going to put his website in there too, because I realized after the fact that I didn't include it. But the channel for GUFON is there. He is on in... Well, let's see. It's 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock. What the hell is it? Right? No.
Pacific.
God, I'm off. Is it? Okay. So please come tune in within the next 20 minutes. He's going to have a great show as he always does. And once again, thank you very much. Rich, hang around for just a second. If you don't mind, I'll say my proper goodbyes to you off the camera. So for now, I'm going to pull you off. But thank you very much once again, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. Right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We're going to skedaddle out of here this evening. I have some phone calls to make in respect to the show. So Have a wonderful, fantastic, and magical evening, guys. Thanks for joining us here on Dark Hour Paranormal. Oh, whoops.